Meanwhile.
And today I'll be doing the auctions review, but unfortunately it's day 2. Apparently I was just focusing on the concept 1B video, so I just completely forgot about making a video on the day 1 for the auctions. But I think other YouTubers already did a lot on that, so I don't think I have to like go over it again, like actually going back and actually showing what tanks were there. Anyways, the first tank we're gonna see is the Eagle 7, which is for 4,500 gold. I would suggest waiting, as you can see people are waiting for that tank to for the price to drop. I would suggest getting this hands like for like 3,000 gold or maybe 2,500 if possible. For that, this tank is amazing, but basically for this tank you have to stay hull down because the turret is like a Pershing turret, you can say, a Pershing. You can actually get quite a lot of bounce on a turret, but there is a hatch, so watch out for that. And you have no hull armor. I mean, no hull armor. I mean, you can't get penned by HE, but still, there's no hull armor. The T55A, I would just suggest staying out of it. It's just the worst T54. Just play the Tech 3 T54 for that. Even for 10,000 gold, it's not worth it. Just if you're just a collector, then you can go for this tank. But I don't know why this tank, like, people bought this more than the Eagle 7 for some reason. As you can see that people are actually buying the Eagle 7 right here. Anyways, next tank is the, actually I forgot to say the playstyle. The T55A, basically you just play it like a T54, which is hull down because your turret is just amazing. But the gun has an issue that it's worse than the T54. And the armor is kind of same of the T54. You can actually bounce on your upper plate, but T54 has better sloping on that. That's why I just don't want you guys to buy this tank, and no one buys this tank anyways. I don't know why. It's just, I think just collectors are buying this tank, or maybe the price, seeing the price is low. I don't know why people are buying. Same with the 047. It is a good tank, but I would recommend buying this tank even for this price, 6,500 gold. This tank is also kind of hull down, but if you see those cheeks, like these cheeks, those are actually armor parts, or maybe you can actually hit that part as well. So that just completely destroys the purpose of hull down, and you can barely bounce on your hull as well. So I would not suggest buying this tank at all. Next tank, the T2020, act like it never existed. It's the worst tank for a 122mm gun ever existed. Even the IS-3 is better than this thing. So I would suggest not buying this tank at all. The only good thing is it has a cool animation on the top where the gun fires. So if you just want to see that animation, just like, I don't know, maybe just watch it on YouTube, because I would not suggest buying this tank at all. Even though you see people bought this tank more than the Eagle 7, which is very interesting to see. But even for 7,000 gold, I would not suggest buying this tank. Even for like 4,500 gold, I wouldn't get this tank. The Predator, this tank, it is good, but the thing about it, it's tall, so it doesn't have gun depression, so it can't hit small tanks like a E25. It's like a KV2 kind of style because it's very tall. And it has a 3-shot auto loader, which is interesting, doing like, I think it was 160 or 190 alpha per shot. I don't have this tank, and I don't want to buy this tank because it's just such a big tank. But the turret armor and the hull armor is pretty good on the front. It's just amazing on the front, but the sides are troll as well. You see these big I don't know, extra parts coming out, that's actually troll. But I don't think you will bounce that much on this tank. I mean, the lower plate is the one which the issue is. So I would not suggest buying this tank as well. If you want to go for it, just go for it, because Wargaming never sells these tanks for gold in the store itself. So maybe this is the only chance you want to get this tank for gold, because they always sell it for money. No, they don't even sell this tank in crates, so just saying. Next tank, the IS-3 Defender. IS-3 Defender used to be an amazing tank when I first got it. because auto loading 122 millimeters was just not a thing in tier 8 at all. And seeing this tank being there with that IS-3 troll armor at that time used to be amazing. Like you could just side scrape and do everything you can. So it was an amazing tank until it got power crept, and now at this point it's just it's like a T2020. I don't want to say it like that, but it's like an IS-3 actually. IS-3 is respectable. It's like an IS-3 just with a clipper. But still, the good thing is the tracks are actually like wide, so people actually by accident hit the track on the front. So you actually get traditional bounces which you don't expect. And the turret is actually more rounded than the IS-3, so you can actually bounce more on the turret. So basically you only have like 5 to 6 degrees of gun depression, so you can't go hull down. But if you have a chance to go hull down, or maybe like going on flat ground but hiding your hull and just showing a turret, that is actually a good way to actually play this tank. Overall, I would not buy this tank unless you're a clipper fan. And for 7,500 gold, I would just wait for it to for the price to go down. The next one is the Dingo, the Centurion RAAC, which I think it's an amazing tank if it's hull down. But I have played this tank, and the hull down is like very less. I mean, you just run around the map rather than just staying in one spot. This tank, I don't know, the hatch is snipeable, of course, but it's not that big like an Action X. But this tank, I remember this tank being in the Blitz Cup event given for free with the Action X and Progetto. People, all the YouTubers actually said that this tank should be the last one you should go for. And some YouTubers actually said that you would rather get 5,000 gold than this tank. Or 5,000, or no, not 5,000, 3,750 gold than this tank. But it's a good tank. It is like a 301, but it can go hull down. But it has hull issues. The hull is like no armor at all. And you can actually like troll people by showing that back part of the tank, because that's literally like, that's not armor. That's just the shells go through it and do no damage to you. So you can actually like troll or maybe like bait the shots in. You can do that, but I've never seen anyone do that. So for 8,500 gold, that I don't think that you should get this tank, like not at all. I would suggest waiting for at least 5,000 gold or maybe 5,500 at most, but I wouldn't get this tank at all. The Vindicator, the Warhammer, the only Warhammer tank in this game, till now, maybe later on Wargaming might just add anything. Like we had the teaser in the Mines map, not Mines map, the Rockfield map. So for 6,000 gold, this is another tank that they don't sell for gold. And for now, since it's for 6,000 gold, if you want a fun SC-152 but budget smasher, I would say you can go for this tank, but not for this price. I would suggest waiting for at least 5,000 gold, because as you can see, people are actually waiting for it, or else the amount of tanks left would have been dropped since ages ago. And about this tank, you have spaced armor on the front. That plow is actually spaced armor. And at some points, I have actually checked on Armor Inspector. It's actually like 1,000 millimeters. That's crazy, but it's only at certain spots and angles. So you can actually bounce quite a lot in this tank, even with your gun as well, because this tank has heat as its normal as its normal shell, and heat as its premium shell, and HE as usual. So you can't shoot through buildings like an SC-152 or a Smasher can. So that's an issue. This issue is also in the T49 if you don't know what I'm talking about. So overall, I would go for the tank if I can't get the Smasher, but I mean, I think the SC-152 does the job as well, and it can. This thing also has like 2 degrees. I think it got buffed to 1 more degree of gun depression. Maybe I heard a rumor, but I didn't check it because I didn't play this tank since ages. So yeah, the gun depression sucks on this tank, of course, because it's already low to the ground anyways. But the sides are paper, rear is paper. That hatch is also snipeable, so that hatch is big actually. It's like an Action X hatch. So we have to watch out for that. Next tank, the AMX Defender. If you can't play light tanks, I would not suggest buying this. Try out the AMX 1390. If you like that tank, you will love this tank. This tank is just, it's like a clipper. It's like a Defender Mark 1 clipper, but it's more speed, less armor, but it's troll. The armor on the front plate is so angled that it's actually troll and it can bounce, and it has spaced armor on the side. Of course, it's a Defender tank. Why not? So it's and it has an issue of, first of all, gun depression and elevation, because AMX tanks, French tanks, don't have that much gun depression and elevation, and the amount of shells it gets isn't enough. You literally have to not shoot HE at all. Not shoot HE, what am I saying? Don't carry HE at all in this tank, because the HE damage is not even 200, it's like 190. So I would not suggest using HE at all. But it gets it gets very less shells. The next tank, the Skorpion G. Oh, by the way, I forgot to talk about the price of the Defender. For 8.5k, I wouldn't get this. Wait for at least 7k for this tank if you are interested in light tanks. The Skorpion G, this tank is like the most accurate tank in tier 8 on paper, I'm saying. I don't know about it. I mean, I have played this tank a lot, and I got it from a crate. I think from, not crate, it was a lockbox event. So I got it from the lockbox itself. So when the E75 TS was also there in that lockbox. I don't remember the name. I don't know. I got it from the lockbox collecting the parts. But anyways, this tank is paper, first of all. No armor at all. You can get HE anywhere, even on the turret. It's like an RHM, but the gun is the best thing about this. Its accuracy is the finest with 460 alpha. It's just amazing. And this thing has 600, I think it's 600 HE pen on the, not pen, HE damage on this thing. And the penetration is also amazing because it's a tank destroyer. So for 11,000 gold, I would not suggest buying this tank at all. I would wait for at least 9,000 gold, because as you can see, people are actually waiting. 9,000 gold is also way too much, but for the tank you're getting, it's just amazing. But again, if you're not skilled, don't buy this tank, because this thing is paper. You're not gonna like it if you don't know how to play it. Maybe watch some people like Fatness play it. So actually you can actually become better once you buy this tank. The Badger, people say it's the worst tank, but in my opinion, if you go hull down in this tank, you're impenetrable. But now, since there's like, it's kind of power crap, because the side is actually penable with heat with some guns like the Hori. But I would suggest staying away from this tank, because I mean, it's very slow, first of all, and if you get circled, you're basically dead. The only good thing is it can go hull down, that's it. You can say it's like a TS5, but better, of course. So even for 15,000 gold, I would not suggest a tank. Next tank, the Chimera. This tank is basically a broken tank and the best tier 8 medium you can get. Even for 10,000 gold, as you can see, people just went in for that tank. So I would suggest waiting just one more day if you can. If you really want the tank, just buy it, because this tank is just amazing. The way you play it is basically you can go, this thing does everything for you. It has a reactive armor to actually take less alpha damage shots, so you survive more. It has a reticle, which is basically better accuracy for a shorter period of time. It has turret armor and front plate armor, which is amazing. So you can actually bounce in this tank. It has side spaced armor on the hull, so you can't get HE on the side. It's just overall, it's just an amazing tank. And it has a 440 alpha, which is very interesting because none of the tanks have 440 alpha in this tier, or any tier actually. So this is just an amazing tank. Even for 10,000 gold, I would recommend buying it, but if you can wait for one more day, which I doubt you should, because there's like, people are actually buying this tank left and right, like right now. But the most buy tank for the first day is the T26E3 And the reason for this tank being sold like left and right, crazy already, it's like half the people have already bought it. Even I have bought this tank right already. because I was scared that it's gonna go away. I wanted this tank since like last year, but I couldn't get it because money issues. So I mean, this tank, it's not because of how it plays, it's because the price. Look at the price. 12,500 gold for a tier 10 is already a sweet deal. Because normally tier 10s, even the 121B, the worst tank in tier 10 as a premium, is sold for like 15,000 gold. This thing is already sold for like less than that. So I would suggest buying this tank. If you want this tank, you have to buy it now, because you can't wait for the tank to like disappear. I will try to post this video as soon as possible. I hope so, if I can edit it faster so that you guys can see. And this tank is basically, you go hull down, you have a massive hatch, but it's troll, so you can actually get a bounces on the hatch. So don't worry, it's not the worst hatch in the world, but there is a hatch. It's like a Chieftain T95 hatch, which is troll as well. But this tank can go hull down, and yeah, it's basically that. And it has like a Chieftain Mk, oh, it's not Chieftain Mk 6. Yeah, it's a Chieftain Mk 6 gun, basically, but the accuracy is not the same. Accuracy is worse than the Chieftain Mk 6. It's like a, if you see my Concept 1B video, which I'll probably link in this, there a link in the end of the video, it's like the dispersion is that kind of thing. It's like, it's very trope. Sometimes it doesn't hit. So yeah, if you want to get this tank, I mean, it's a collectible tank. If you just want to buy it, and then you can sell it for 7,500 gold if you want to. But I would suggest buying this tank because it's a tier 10 and it's priced for pretty less anyways. But you still need to know how to play this tank, because it's not a noob friendly tank. So if you are kind of a noob, I would suggest just get the Chimera. That's the best tank you can get as a noob. Not a noob, I mean, I shouldn't just say noob. That's way too aggressive to say that, but I wouldn't say that. It's like a new person trying out tanks. I would suggest get the Chimera. Out of all the tanks, I would say just get the Chimera and maybe the T95E6. Everything else, you should just wait and just ignore the fact that there's a T2020 in this auction, because it's just completely useless. Because on the turret, you may seem like it's armor because on the turret there's that space armor thing, but it's just paper. So anyone can pen that. So just ignore the fact that it even exists. You can watch other YouTubers if you want to know why do I say this. So I think that's all about it. So thank you for watching, I guess. Just feel free to let me know what you guys buy in the comments. Alright, hope you liked the video. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And yeah, if you want to see the Concept 1B video, it's gonna be in the screen in a bit. Alright, see you in the next one then. Goodbye.